Will Karesh be the War Within's Argus? Now, this is not hard confirmed or anything like that. Actually, I just published a video on it like 2 hours before the stream, so you can go and watch that afterwards if you want a little bit more of the lore angle. Essentially, though, Karesh is the homeworld of the Ethereals. We've known about it since the Burning Crusade, and some data mining may suggest that we could go there.
It also probably doesn't, but for sake of argument, let's say it does.
So let's talk about that bit first. By the way, this what you're looking at there, that's a bit of fan art of Karesh.
What may or may not be Karesh. This
is an expansion concept fan art, though.
Yeah, this was around BFA time, wasn't it? Towards
I think
the
so.
end of BFA, I think that this was a concept. And everyone's like, damn, give me that. And obviously, this was around the time Dune was big. And they're like, Dunes of Nakarat, holy shit, give me that. The old Nexus Kings Bings visit. Very good, very good. That's by Asa Plays on Twitter.
Yes.
So we're talking about what we found in the...
What caused this to happen? The answer is some icons. Now, if we look at these, INV, inventory, Ethereal Raid chime colors 1 through 4. Ethereal Raid, of course, being the the notable thing, and then there's also these communicators, which also have got the label Ethereal Raid.
Yes, I will say the person who drew our attention to these was Keyboard Turn on Twitter. I did just say we found these, but weren't the original people to see.
Got you. So, Ethereal Raid. Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting because there is an Ethereal in this raid. It's Nexus Princess Kaveza, right? But the thing is, everything else has an Nerubian raid as its label because it is the Nerubian raid. And generally, whenever you're going through World of Warcraft data mining, that is what they will call items from a raid. Take the Emerald Dream stuff. Its label was Emerald Dream Outdoor. Mm-hmm. That was pretty easy to find. So the thought then is, Ethereal Raid, is this a mislabel or is this a little bit of a fragment? Because if they had an Ethereal Raid, they would probably have lots of icons and things that look like that. So are they using icons that are intended for that here? What are they doing? We obviously don't know. We cannot see within the studio. But as an example, you've got, say, Guardian of the First Ones in Sanctum of Domination, and then you go to Zereth Mortis, and there's loads of other dudes like the Guardian of the First Ones. Though if you look at Guardian of the First Ones, all of his stuff, it's like Sanctum of Domination raid, or I forget exactly what it says, but it doesn't say, First One's boss.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It still maintains, like, label-wise, sort of Sanctum of Domination. So this could be a mistake. This could be a copy and paste that somebody shouldn't have made. We don't really know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It could be anything. Now, I will say the other thing is there. The Goblin Raid icon. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a Goblin Raid icon we found. We talked about that before, and it's kind of relevant here in the same degree. But I will say there's something there in my head, and it's completely vanished.
Oh
it's
no!
All gone forever. What was I thinking about before I looked at chat and got my brain destroyed? I don't remember. Oh, yes. No, I remember now. It was the build numbers, right? It was the build numbers. So, there was a lot of Nerubian raid icons added in an earlier build. Then in the latest build from last week, not the latest build, because I think there's one going up now. So maybe we'll get some news, but it was last... Or maybe the build's not going to. Maybe the server just crashed earlier me, and that's why I was lost loads of time today. Haha, hilarious. But the newest build also had these come in and the new build, but there's also Nerubian raid items in the same build. So there's like a build A, most of the Nerubian raid items, build B, Nerubian raid items, and Ethereal raid items. So that's like a kind of there's a bit of a hierarchy. It's not really there's no conclusions you can draw from it really. But it was kind of like, this isn't all in the one build. So it's kind of, it could be from a different thing entirely. But it did lead us down the rabbit hole of Karesh being the final raid of the War Within and being our Argus completely lined up. As soon as the concept appeared, it just fully formed in my brain, like, duh, obviously. I can't wait to eat crow on this, be completely wrong. But duh, obviously, between Locust Walker kind of showing up in the Dark Heart stuff, as well as going to Locust Rift, and be like, okay, well, Locust Walker clearly understands what Xal'atath wants or what Xal'atath's like modus operandi is. Interesting. What's that about Koresh also having sung a Radiant song before Dementia showed up and went om nom nom? Interesting.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
Like they brought Koresh back. They sort of tied Locust Walker into it. You have to assume they want to pay that stuff off, and they'll be looking for patch content that will have cut through with audiences. They probably did Emerald Dream because they know it has big name recognition. In this case, Koresh doesn't have big name recognition, but like with Argus, you can really sell that as a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a whole... I suppose we'll probably talk about the Nexus Princess Kavissa herself just to kind of get this out of the way a little bit. But what the deal is here... Oh, yeah, Nathir is a good example, where there was also Zymox. And this is like almost the exact same thing. Zymox didn't really belong in Nathir. Was kind of there stealing stuff. And then... Or collecting stuff. And Kavissa is kind of the same idea of... Why are you in here? You don't belong here. And then there's a reason that's like actually given, which is to say that like it's one thing to be spoiled for 11, not 11.2. I actually don't think there's a spoiler. I think this class is under speculation based off hints more than anything else. Because I genuinely truly do believe this to be a mislabel, just because of how like I can't imagine not being. I can't imagine not being.
They do a lot of things in parallel.
They're not that insane. They're not insane enough to put the last raid in there.
But this isn't about sanity.
And yeah, I know.
This isn't about sanity. This is about human error in an organization of over 500 humans.
Yeah. So I will also
That's the bit where it could...
Yeah. I will also say I think these are actually items on from the boss.
Yes.
Which then goes to say, well, you know, it maybe doesn't mislabel. That's what I'm trying to suggest that, because I really don't want to believe they would have accidentally done this for the fourth time in a row. Because they've spoiled 10.1, they spoiled 10.2, they've spoiled 11.1, and they're going to spoil 11.2. I do not want to believe that Blizzard done this.
Yeah, but you could be in a situation where the same thing has happened 8 times and you're standing there going, surely it couldn't happen a 9th time.
Surely the coin will land on heads this time.
It reminds me of...
probabilities are not independent, please.
It reminds me of a nice little phrase. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent.
Yeah. I like that. I like that, yeah.
I don't know. I'm more on the side of this could potentially be real than you.
Yeah,
but
I think I actually am on that side.
Oh my God.
I'm just choosing not to be.
I see.
For my own sanity.
The reason why if you were to end up doing an Ethereal raid on Koresh, it would make a lot of sense for setting up Midnight. Midnight is supposed to be us defending the Sunwell against, big ultimate void, whatever. So it's, the big voidy, lighty clash sort of expansion.
Renalash.
That's the one. It's supposed to be that. Now, what better way to set up the stakes than to go to Koresh that has had all of the bad things happen to it?
Yeah, it's like, it's the most, hey, do you want to know what's about to happen to your planet? Let's go to check out the planet that just got this happen to, and then we'll figure things out, and we'll see what the... we'll have all of our insights and figure out how to stop it. Things like that. That's exactly that's a compelling ass storyline to actually follow, especially if you focus in on the emotionality. Like they really like doing that, where they'll focus in on the emotionality of what were the final moments of the Ethereals like. What was the process of becoming Ethereal actually like? That's very much how they would like to write those things now. Especially you say, right boys, we're going to, Right developers, right side quest writers, right whoever. We're going to Koresh. Any ideas? And they're all like, we'll get back to you in 2 or 3 days. They show up in 2 or 3 days and they're like, can this be an expansion, please? We have a lot of ideas. Which I think is something we may have to talk to in regards to them throwing Koresh in as a patch zone. But it worked for Argus, so that's okay. So I think would prefer if the raid was a memory. Locust Walker retelling the story of Koresh. Last boss being Demencius killing us. I don't think they would do that because that's too kind of abstract-y.
Yeah, people would want...
substantially
I guess unless
Final
you
Fantasy
do, if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Oh, please.
They would. I think though they want it to be real for the sake of, stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You could do that, but you would need wonderful storytelling to make it work.
Yeah. I won't talk about it but FF does that quite well. In multiple locations, it's one of the finest tools in their toolbox. But yeah, so it's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
probably. So obviously, Ethereal raid. There could be an Ethereal raid on Azeroth, right?
That would be a surprise.
Where?
I mean, maybe it's them. Maybe they're raiding us.
Maybe they manifest that we have to defend something. Because, well, I would say that if not for the fact we already kicked them out of Ulduar.
But there is the mystery flesh pit underneath Azkahet. See the way underneath Azkahet.
Ethereals don't really feel like they would be in a big flesh pit.
But that is the thing where I'm wondering what's going on with the big flesh pit, because we don't really do big flesh pit things at the start of the War Within. As in, underneath Azkahet, there's a big spooky flesh pit.
Oh, there's it's all old god flesh,
just a big infinite flesh pit. Yeah. So does infinite flesh is the infinite flesh pit content going to be with the goblins and going more underground? Maybe that won't be, or maybe you'll go to Undermine, but there'll be a zone. I don't know. But it would seem odd to establish the humongous flesh pit and then do nothing with it.
But then you can't really do much with the flesh pit.
Yeah, I suppose then you're just in a flesh pit.
Mega Dungeon flesh pit.
Oh yeah, we also completely forgot about Mega Dungeons.
Yeah, because we're going to have it 11.15.
Okay, fair. So fair, and I think one thing they know they didn't hit great in Dragonflight was the pacing of their story. So if we have the Mega Dungeon storyline actually be the same storyline as the A-plot, that would give them way more screen time. As opposed to the Mega Dungeon sort of was the A-plot, but it was also the Bronze Dragonflight story. It was a bit weird.
Yeah.
And it had side quests before it and after it that didn't really matter to the A-plot. It was bizarre. So I suppose, if you have some sort of deep Azeroth corruption thing, and then maybe at the end of the Mega Dungeon, whatever happens could be your direct lead into to going to Koresh. You go to Koresh. They sort of show you what's at stake because of how screwed up the planet is, and they get to have an extremely marketable bit of content. New tile set. New tile set. They could probably, because it's cosmic, they just go completely insane with the skyboxes. That's what so much of Argus was just masterful use of skyboxes.
Most of the game looking pretty is basically skyboxes.
Yeah, so they could hit all of those strengths that we know they have that get cut through and kind of wow people.
Mm-hmm. Especially if they have Illidan show up with the Koreshi Keystone. I've got the Koreshi Keystone, boys. Read the book to figure out how. We're going to Koresh. Get the fuck into the car, boys. Hop in the back. The champion gets shotgun. Off we go. We'll jump into the Vindicar and off into space we go for one last trip into space. Asterisk, not the last trip into space because we still have to do the first ones. But let's leave that till after the last Titan. Thank you.